Good afternoon, everyone. Do I have a knife for you today? This had been requested a little while ago from my Instagram page. It is the Adventure Sworn Guide. I forgot the name for a second. The Adventure Sworn Guide. This knife is either my favorite or my second favorite knife. Right now it's rocking a Sheath from Red Nose Leather. So first, before we even get to the knife, let's talk about the sheath. First of all, so great, super heavy duty leather sheath, double stitching, removable dangler. He put on here a hidden ferro rod loop, which was awesome. So pull this off. So this ferro rod, I just took a piece of fat wood, shaped the handle down, kind of left it square so I can actually, if I needed to, scrape off my handle and then flip my ferro rod around and strike off my ferro rod. So back here he has his branding. This screw comes out, which actually releases this ferro rod loop if I did not want it. I love the heart that he stitched in here. Absolutely love this sheath. My most favorite sheath out of everything that I own. Great guy, great maker. Can't say enough good things about him. And then he has this really cool removable dangler, which I can open, and then I can thread this through onto my belt, leave this open, and then slide my knife through, and snap these snaps, and I have a dangler. And then I don't have to take my belt off to put this piece on. It's thin, so it pretty much goes wherever I want it to go on my belt. So the knife. What a gorgeous, gorgeous knife. Now, I've used this for a while. I think I've had this for almost a year now. Looking at stabilized box elder, blue box elder, so stabilized and dyed, with I believe it's shade tree emerald micarta, blue, thick blue G10 liners, along with thin, more of a like a green teal liner. I believe this handle thickness is the 5 of 5 thickness. Either that or it's 4 or 5, but it feels great. It's a super thick handle. I only have medium-sized hands, so, but even for me, this feels absolutely awesome. Now, it's in convex grind, it's in CPM 3V, so I've never really had to do a ton of sharpening to it. I prefer Scandi grinds, but I went with convex because I thought having something different would really help challenge me and make me adapt my skills to a different skill set. The blade length is 4 3/4, the thickness is 1/8 of an inch, and then of course the blade shape is their take on an SMIC style blade. And then I have my little lanyard here. Real quick, because I don't think I've ever disclosed on my knives why my lanyards are so tiny and short. So the reason why it's like this is I can put my pinky in here and sit back on this knife, and now I'm holding here. I can do wrist chops with the knife, but it's not going to go anywhere because my pinky is locked in there. And also the lanyard is the 550 fire cord, so if I really needed it, I could undo this knot. I could take my ferro rod, hit the fire cord inside, and be great. I think I'll actually end up changing this knot. I've been putting more decorative knots on my other knives, and it gives me a little bit more cordage. That's why I have that. So let's take this knife and let's go do some testing with it. Alright, again, back to our super scientific stump. We're going to baton this piece of maple here. Nice dry, dead maple. This would be reasonable batoning, which I like the idea of saying that this is reasonable, because most people want to baton like huge logs. So no problems there. Maybe there's a little moisture in this, but Really nothing to worry about. Really no issues. That convex grind bites in pretty well. Just a single tap gets at the set. So not bad. We'll jump right into feathers, actually. So, because it's convex, it's going to bite a little bit differently. Let me clean all this pith off. Also have a nice flat spot to start. But it does feather quite well. It's usually finer feathers that you're going to get out of it because it's convex. It's not biting the same as a Scandi. Ah, that one was a little thick. Oh, there we go. So it'll do it. It's not my favorite feather sticker. There we go, not bad. But it will allow you to get really, really tiny, really, really fine curls fairly easily. I actually like using the sweep of this blade up here more than being back here. And of course, because this blade has such weight to it, kind of knock those off. You have, a little tiny pile of feathers, but if I kept at it a few minutes, I'd have a decent amount of feathers. All right. Another thing that we can do, that this knife is gonna be pretty good at. I don't know. Let's say here we'll make a 10 steak. We have to split this off. You're supposed to be able to do wrist flicks to chop with. Because this is maple, this might be a little bit more difficult to do. Yeah. On greener wood, this would totally work. I don't want to. I'd stand the stick up. Maybe I will do that. I'll lop this end off. I just don't want to be too high up here. This is what larger knives are for, hatchets are for. Crafting chops, yeah, this will definitely be great at crafting chops. Maple's a pain in the butt to get through anyway. There we go. No edge damage, no edge deformation, no chipping, rolling, anything like that. 3V is an amazing steel. Another thing we can do with it is, and I would do this with smaller knives on sticks too, you can do the cross baton through. This will go all the way through, actually. Nope. It's going to stop right about there. But that made it most of the way through. There you go. So, yeah, you can cross baton with it. That's what I would do with smaller knives, and of course this is much harder because it's maple and it's totally dry. Scraping or stripping bark off, it gets in there. this area is better for that. We'll get in here with the spine. I feel like I have other adventure sworns that have sharper spines than this, but this works. You know, we're making fine fluff down here. I have to say I like the hump in this spine, and I like this curve here. Like, I like this whole shape, because you can get up here, up onto that part of the spine, and maybe get into maybe a curve that you're doing, or you get here, and since you have that curved part of the spine, it kind of wraps around the stick a little bit. So, yep, a whole bunch of fine fluff that would probably light up really easily. We are going to do a notching test. Let's reposition. So I cut this green branch here. Stuff like this, it's gonna have no problem getting through. This is magnolia. Bam. Let me grab my stool. I want to be confident when I do this. Alright. A little bit of a high work surface, but don't care. Alright, so with this now, and chopping on a green stick, I'll show you the difference here. Get up in here. So, bites much deeper. There you go. Not bad. Alright. Strip the bark. And it's a bit of an awkward angle, of course, because I'm filming. Oh, not bad. The one thing that I love about Scandi grinds is how well they work for bushcraft tasks, for notching and whatnot. This is really great though for taking this bark off, because I can get in here and take very, very fine shavings off. Pretty much just strip the bark, or I can use the spine and strip all that bark off. All that inner bark comes off really, really well with the spine. Alright, clean that off. Alright. So, the one thing this won't do is it won't bite as deeply. So come in here. Come down. Use this as kind of my anvil surface. And come in here. If you will. I'm gonna make a 7-notch. I don't know. I love this front sweep of this blade. I don't use more towards my hand very much. Get a rock. Clean that all out. Here again. But you can definitely do really good thumb assists. Really use that tip to get in there. So it's a pretty deep 7-notch that I made. It's going to have a little bit more problem with the square notches and things like that, and that's something I'll take a baton for. Use this stick right here. Do a square notch. This will baton in and bite pretty well into that wood. You can see that, hopefully. Right there. Oh, I'm already popping that notch out. I gotta come down on this side a little bit more. That wasn't bad. And then we can get in here, the curve of the blade. Kind of rock back a little bit. There we go. Break that out. So it's great, that convex grind with when you just push in, doesn't really bite very deeply. But if you're going to use a baton to help you notch, it's going to be fantastic. We'll do pot hook notch, or something else you can do with this, definitely on green sticks and definitely on thinner sticks with a baton, is cross baton all the way through and get a relatively nice finish here. And we'll strip this end off. We can come in here, just clean this up. Now you can get this to bite pretty deep, and because the spine isn't super razor sharp, definitely doesn't bite into your fingers and destroy your thumb when you're doing the assist cuts there. Let's do a pot hook notch. Those usually give me an idea of the capabilities of the knife, because you have to make like weird wrist angles and whatnot. I might have cut a little too deep into this stick. So, of course, in Adventure Sworn fashion, just like the Explorer, it almost has this popped out already. And I'll just twist, and there we go. That side's out. I'll drive this back in this way, see if I can pop it out like that. And Adventure Sworn knives are the only knives I've seen that can do this that well. It's got a little screwed up over here, and then I'll just have to come in here, thumb assist, so I don't. So I have the Explorer review posted as well, and this Explorer pretty much did the same exact thing when I went to do a pot hook notch. I kind of just pop this out, pop that area out really, really easily. It's kind of a messy pot hook. Let's see if I can clean this up a bit. And I went a little far through this stick too. That's what happens when you have a smaller stick to work with. Yeah, it's a little bit more blade. It's a little bit more to get used to. You can still get in here though. Sweep under there. Clean that out. And then this side kind of got screwed up and it looks pretty damn ugly. And then I can, of course, push in under here and clean that part out. Alright, yeah, super ugly pot hook, but it worked. Definitely able to get that knife sunk in there and pop that notch out. I'm curious, there's my other baton, how it'll do on a piece of dead maple. So let's see. Got my nice big baton, a piece of maple here. Let's see what we can do. Leave the bark on, just because we can. Definitely the front portion of this blade is awesome. Crazy, crazy awesome. Oops. Move this so I don't end up cutting myself. I doubt I'll be able to pop this one. But can still get under there. Still start that notch pretty well. Not as easily, of course. But you know, that's a decent bit of wood that I was able to just dig out of there from the beginning. Most knives won't cut that deeply. Yep. And as for, your standard debarking tasks, this will come through here. And with this being 3V, this thing's going to hold an edge for days on end. I think it's only ever touched a stone once in the time that I've had it. Mostly strops to maintain. Corrosion resistance is awesome, of course, with this steel. They have a little bit of the heat treat finish left up here. I don't think I might have scraped a ferro rod once or twice on this. I don't know if it's me or just 3V in general, but I find when I use 3V to scrape ferro rods, it kind of chews up the spine a bit, but with 01 holds up a little bit better. It just might be the properties of the steel, but overall it's a very gorgeous blade. Adventure Sworn, I wouldn't change anything. These thumb scallops that are right here, kind of, this chamfer that they put on the edges here, those are for your reverse grip, which these are perfectly placed for me. Does not hit my thumb at all, does not dig in. Great relief on that, so I can stand there and do my chest levers. Let's do it without it being on my chest. Get closer to this. Chest levers really well. Awkward right now because I don't want to move the camera. Chest lever grip is awesome. I can come through here and carve towards myself with this blade. Choke all the way up the tip. Carve out chunks. And with just a little bit more weight and a little bit more length than your standard bushcraft knife, or your typical bushcraft knife, usually being between 4, 4 1/4, sometimes 4 1/2, at 4 3/4, this definitely has more purposes, more tasks. It's also going to be a great hunting knife with that belly, that length. Can't get over the handle. These are super gorgeous handles. The one thing about Adventure Sworn are, unless if they're like a pre-order run, or, well, now that's all it really is, for getting 2 knives with the same handles. If you have a pre-order run, there's going to be multiple knives with the same handles. If you do the one-offs, I've seen one other knife with handles similar to this, but not like this. So most of the time they're different. As for purchasing from them, if you go over to their website, they have different things available all the time, sometimes around Thursday and Friday, where you'll have to sign up for their newsletters to get information about sales. For our lovely sheath here, their sheaths are a little bit different. I didn't order mine with a sheath. I just decided to go with one from Red Nose Leather, which I am more than happy that I did. Alright guys, there we have it, the fantastic Adventure Sworn guide with the awesome sheath from Red Nose Leather. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, please make sure to click like, share, and subscribe, and I'll be back with more videos. Thank you.